Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Gates channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and hit like for more daily drama updates and spoilers. Your support truly means a lot and helps our channel grow every day. Now, let's jump straight into today's exciting update. As another dramatic day unfolds across Fairmont Crest, the emotional stakes rise higher than ever, drawing families, friends, and rivals into an increasingly tangled web of loyalty, heartbreak, and conflict. The Tuesday, July 14th episode of Beyond the Gates promises powerful confrontations and unexpected turns as Chelsea, Naomi, and Madison find themselves standing together in a rare display of unity while turmoil continues to spread around them. In a community where trust is fragile and old wounds are never fully healed, every decision carries lasting consequences, and even the strongest relationships are tested when life suddenly changes course. What begins as a day filled with uncertainty quickly transforms into an emotional battle that forces each character to confront difficult choices. As secrets, stubbornness, and hidden agendas collide, the atmosphere grows heavier with every passing moment, leaving viewers wondering whether compassion will prevail or whether pride will once again drive everyone further apart. At the heart of the unfolding drama, Chelsea, Naomi, and Madison present a united front, creating one of the episode's most intriguing developments. Their alliance could easily be connected to the ongoing lawsuit involving Madison, a legal battle that has already placed enormous pressure on everyone involved. Yet another possibility looms even larger over Fairmont Crest as Bill Hamilton's frightening health scare suddenly shifts everyone's priorities. Just moments earlier, Madison and Naomi had been focused on a tense deposition, carefully navigating the legal complexities surrounding Madison's case. Then, without warning, everything changed. Bill was rushed to the hospital, turning an already stressful situation into a desperate race against time. In an instant, Madison stopped thinking like Bill's client and instinctively stepped back into her role as a physician, allowing her professional instincts to override every personal complication surrounding their relationship. It was a reminder that beneath the courtroom battles and emotional conflicts, some responsibilities transcend every disagreement. The sudden medical emergency leaves everyone shaken, and if Chelsea, Naomi, and Madison truly are standing together, it may be because they realize Bill needs every ounce of support he can get. Despite his current condition, they all know the same undeniable truth about him. Bill Hamilton has never been the kind of man who accepts weakness, and he certainly isn't someone who will willingly remain confined to a hospital bed for very long. His determination has always been one of his greatest strengths, but it can also become his greatest flaw when it prevents him from listening to those trying to help him. That stubborn spirit may force Chelsea, Naomi, and Madison to work together, whether they want to or not, placing them on the same side against Bill's relentless refusal to slow down. The emotional burden could become even heavier for Naomi, who may suddenly find herself carrying the responsibility of handling Madison's legal case on her own, while Madison focuses entirely on Bill's recovery. It is an overwhelming situation where duty, compassion, and personal sacrifice become impossible to separate. As the tension surrounding Bill continues to ripple through Fairmont Crest, another unexpected twist quietly begins taking shape. Danny suddenly receives a phone call that catches her completely off guard, prompting an impromptu visit that she never planned to make. The urgency behind the call immediately raises questions, leaving everyone wondering what could possibly pull her away so suddenly. Time and again, fate has found remarkable ways to bring Danny and Bill back into each other's orbit, no matter how much life seems determined to send them down separate paths. Their complicated history has has always carried emotional weight, making every unexpected reunion feel significant, almost as though destiny refuses to let either of them completely walk away from the other. Could Bill's latest health crisis be the reason Danny finds herself rushing to his side once again, reopening emotions neither of them has fully escaped? Or will the mysterious phone call reveal an entirely different crisis, pulling Danny into another unexpected chapter that no one saw coming? Whatever awaits her, the moment promises to alter the emotional landscape of the day in ways that will leave lasting consequences. While concern spreads through parts of Fairmont Crest, Hayley remains focused on an entirely different agenda, one fueled less by compassion and more by resentment. If Bill's condition worries her at all, it certainly doesn't appear to be out of concern for his well-being. Instead, her cold perspective suggests she may only be frustrated that he is still alive, making her intentions feel darker and more unsettling than ever before. Rather than stepping back during a moment of crisis, Hayley continues doing exactly what she does best, stirring conflict wherever she goes. Every carefully chosen word becomes another spark capable of igniting emotional explosions among the people around her. Her latest piece of advice, whatever form it takes, proves powerful enough to drive Thomas into a heated clash with Naomi. As misunderstandings grow and emotions flare, Hayley doesn't appear interested in stopping the damage she has caused. Instead, she seems perfectly content to sit comfortably on the sidelines, almost as though she has front row seats to a show she personally orchestrated, quietly enjoying every ounce of chaos that unfolds because of her manipulation. Elsewhere, another relationship begins showing fresh signs of strain as Ted once again finds himself completely flabbergasted by Kat. The speed with which his frustration returns is almost surprising, suggesting that whatever progress may have existed between them has quickly unraveled. Kat's recent decisions appear to be testing Ted's patience in ways he never expected, forcing him to question whether she is acting impulsively rather than thoughtfully. At first glance, Ted seemed uncomfortable with the possibility of Thomas and Kat becoming engaged, yet Kat ultimately rejected Thomas's proposal. Logically, that outcome should have eased Ted's concerns and perhaps even brought him some relief. Instead, his disappointment has only deepened, hinting that his frustrations extend far beyond a single rejected proposal. Perhaps what truly unsettles him is Kat's impulsive decision to purchase a condominium, a major life choice that seemed to happen almost overnight. Or maybe his concern centers around the increasingly blurred lines in her relationship with Thomas as the two inch closer toward living together. Whether she is moving in with Thomas or Thomas is effectively moving into her new place, the arrangement grows more complicated because he is still keeping his own residence while agreeing to pay her rent. Every detail adds another layer of confusion, making the entire situation feel far more complicated than it first appears. If none of these surprising decisions explain why Ted is so stunned by Kat's recent behavior, then an even bigger revelation may still be waiting just around the corner, threatening to reshape yet another relationship in Fairmont Crest before the day finally comes to an end. And the emotional uncertainty surrounding Bill's condition continues to cast a long shadow over Fairmont Crest, creating an atmosphere where every phone call, every whispered conversation, and every anxious glance carries enormous weight. Even those who have spent years arguing with Bill cannot simply ignore the possibility that his latest medical emergency could change everything. Chelsea remains determined to stay composed despite the growing pressure, understanding that moments like these require strength rather than panic. Naomi, meanwhile, is forced to balance her personal emotions with professional responsibilities, knowing that neither the courtroom nor the hospital will allow her much room to breathe. Madison finds herself standing at the center of both worlds, caught between the legal battle that has consumed so much of her life and the medical oath that instinctively pulled her toward Bill the moment his life was in danger. It is an exhausting emotional crossroads, one where every decision carries consequences and every passing minute reminds them just how fragile life can truly be. What makes the situation even more compelling is the unlikely partnership developing between Chelsea, Naomi, and Madison. Under ordinary circumstances, each woman would be navigating her own priorities, but Bill's collapse has erased those familiar boundaries, forcing them to work side by side. Their united front isn't simply about appearances, it reflects the reality that no single person can handle the crisis alone. Bill has always been larger than life, a man whose confidence and stubborn determination have shaped the lives of everyone around him. Yet that same relentless spirit now threatens to become an obstacle because the very people trying to help him know all too well that convincing Bill to follow medical advice may prove harder than treating whatever condition sent him to the hospital in the first place. His refusal to admit vulnerability has become almost legendary, and everyone expects that the moment he regains enough strength, he'll begin insisting that he's perfectly fine. That leaves Chelsea, Naomi, and Madison with little choice but to stand shoulder to shoulder, preparing themselves for the difficult battle that may begin long before Bill ever walks out of his hospital room. For Naomi, the emotional burden extends far beyond Bill's recovery. The deposition she had been participating in with Madison was abruptly interrupted by the emergency, leaving important legal matters hanging in uncertainty. If Madison remains focused on Bill's care, Naomi may suddenly find herself carrying the weight of the case entirely on her own. It is a responsibility she never expected to shoulder by herself, especially under such emotionally draining circumstances. Every document, every legal strategy, and every courtroom decision could now rest squarely on her shoulders while she simultaneously worries about Bill's condition. The pressure is relentless, forcing her to compartmentalize emotions that refuse to stay neatly contained. In Fairmont, Crest, personal lives and professional obligations rarely remain separate for long, and Naomi is learning just how impossible that balance can become. At the same time, Danny's unexpected phone call continues to raise unsettling questions that linger over the episode like an approaching storm. The urgency of the call suggests that whatever awaits her cannot be ignored, and her spontaneous decision to leave immediately only deepens the mystery. Time has repeatedly proven that Danny and Bill share a connection that refuses to disappear, regardless of how complicated their history has become. Every unexpected encounter between them seems orchestrated by fate itself, reopening emotions that neither of them has ever fully managed to leave behind. If Bill's latest health scare is once again pulling Danny toward him, their reunion could become one of the most emotionally charged moments of the entire episode. Old memories, unresolved feelings, and years of unfinished business could come rushing back the instant they find themselves face to face again. Yet the possibility remains that Danny's urgent visit has nothing to do with Bill at all, leaving viewers to wonder whether an entirely different crisis is quietly unfolding elsewhere in Fairmont Crest. While fear and uncertainty dominate one side of town, Hayley continues operating with motives that couldn't be more different. Rather than showing compassion during a moment of vulnerability, she appears determined to keep manipulating the people around her for her own satisfaction. Bill's hospitalization doesn't soften her attitude. Instead, it seems to reinforce her cold determination to keep pushing events in whatever direction benefits her the most. Her carefully delivered advice to Thomas becomes yet another calculated move, one that quickly drives a wedge between him and Naomi. Whatever words Hayley chooses, they strike exactly where emotions are already fragile, transforming existing tensions into open conflict. As Thomas and Naomi find themselves clashing, misunderstandings threaten to grow larger with every passing conversation. Through it all, Hayley appears more interested in watching the emotional fallout than preventing it, almost treating the lives of those around her as pieces in a game she enjoys controlling from a safe distance. Meanwhile, Ted's growing disbelief over Kat's recent behavior refuses to fade. Every new decision she makes seems to leave him more confused than the last, forcing him to question whether he truly understands the woman standing before him anymore. Her rejection of Thomas's marriage proposal should have settled at least one source of concern, particularly since Ted never seemed enthusiastic about the engagement in the first place. Instead, that decision has simply been replaced by an entirely new collection of questions. Kat's impulsive condominium purchase suggests she is moving forward with remarkable speed, making life-changing decisions before anyone has time to process them. Her increasingly complicated living arrangement with Thomas only adds another layer of uncertainty, especially considering that Thomas intends to keep his own residence while simultaneously paying her rent. The unusual arrangement raises eyebrows and invites speculation from everyone watching their relationship evolve. If these surprising developments still aren't enough to explain why Ted feels so overwhelmed by Kat's recent actions, then viewers should prepare themselves for the possibility that an even bigger surprise is waiting just around the corner, one capable of leaving not only Ted, but all of Fairmont Crest completely stunned.